Namaste. Good morning, viewers, and welcome back once again to another episode of Dekho Apna Desh. Last week, we took you to Orcha, and I promised you that I'm going to take you to a very different place from where we were last Saturday. And today, we are taking you to the tea plantations of Munnar. So, if you've had your morning cup of tea on a Saturday and resting at home, and after that, like me, if you've had some paranthas in the typical Punjabi way of putting loads and loads of oodis of butter on it, then I think we need another cup of tea. So let's go to Munnar today and have tea right from the Bagan ki chai, right? And who's going to do the journey for us? Are two fantastic. I've been talking about our regional level guides. These are the recognized guides of the Ministry of Tourism. And every time I do say that, and I'm repeating it, it is an absolutely very different journey that you do when you go on a journey with a guide, because that's what the role of a guide is. He tell you those little things, the nuances, the special stories, the tales that no website, no books, nowhere would you get those, and in the flavor of the local manner. And today, taking us on the journey of Munnar are two of the regional level guides, both today speaking from Chennai, Charles Melagu and Markesh Gopalakrishnan. Welcome, Charles. Welcome, Markesh. And a very warm good morning to everyone. We in Delhi definitely need the cup of tea. It's very cold still over here. And Charles speaks French, and his origin is from Munnar. So he's going to take us to, I'm sure some interesting tales will come from his own childhood when he was born there and he probably stayed there. And Markesh is a German speaking guy. And that doesn't stop them, of course, from taking other customers, other tourists, and other experiences. But these are their extra qualifications when they're able to specialize. Don't we all agree that whenever we go out of India and when we go in any country around the world, when you get your own khana, that whatever you want, it could be the idli dosa, it could be paisam, it could be parantha, as I said, or it could be mache jhol. So, whichever things that you actually have every day when you go on a holiday, you want to be close to your language, you want to be close to your culture, and yet see the other places. So, that's what happens with our foreign guests. When they get a guide who's able to speak in their languages, they are able to understand the nuances of the place just that little better. So, today on the journey of Munnar, once again, I am welcoming Charles and Markesh, and of course, leading this whole initiative and helping us to come to the 17th episode today, special run series, which are brought to you by the guides, is Mr. Ajay Singh, who is in Varanasi. Last time, Ajay is the president of the Tourist Guides Federation. And last time, Ajay was able to weave a story of how Orcha and Varanasi could be brought together. I'm challenging him today on how he can spin together Varanasi and Munnar. So, viewers, welcome once again, and let's go on the amazing journey of Munnar and enjoy your cup of tea. Welcome, Charles. Welcome, Markesh.
So, Vanakkam, Namaskar, good morning to everybody, good morning to all the viewers. And I would like to thank the MOT, the officials, and a special thanks to Brad Madam, the ADG, and also our good friend Mr. Ajay Singh. It's a great privilege, has been on for me to talk about my hometown, Munnar. I was born and brought up in Munnar. Of course, I live in Chennai at the moment. And Munnar, most of you are aware that it's one of the most beautiful hill station, touristic destination in south of India. Munnar is called as a Kashmir of south of India. Munnar is a tiny town with a small population of around 50,000. That is not only in Munnar, I'm talking about their surroundings. Approximately 50,000 people are living there. And Munnar is in an altitude, almost like I'm talking about the town, which is 1,500 meters above the sea level. And in maximum altitude in near Munnar is 2,642 meters above sea level, considered to be one of the tallest peak in south of India. So that is the Munnar. And the language spoken there is Tamil and Malayalam. Of course, Munnar is situated in the state of Kerala, not too far away from Cochin. It's approximately 130 kilometers from Cochin. It takes 3 to 4 hours drive in a very scenic drive all the way from the Cochin to Munnar. Once you reach, and majority of the people are Tamil. How come they are Tamil? See, these people are migrated way back in the end of the 19th century to work in the tea plantation. Due to that region, the employees, the laborers who's working in the tea plantations, are most of them are Tamilians. That's why they have two languages, Tamil as well as in English. Of course, and what in the school, the medium of instruction in the schools also in Tamil as well as Malayalam and English. Munnar is situated in the state of Kerala in the high ranges. That means it is the high ranges in the sense of the high altitudes. On an average altitude of starting from 1,200 meters goes up to 2,642 feet, the altitude of Munnar. As far as the weather is concerned, Munnar has got a very salubrious climate. And the best time to visit Munnar is starting from February till middle of May, because the monsoon starts in the month of June, the southwest monsoon from June to September, and followed by the northeast monsoon from middle of October to the end of December. So it's almost rains continuously for 6 months, but it is a great fun to visit Munnar during the monsoon period. When we say the monsoon, the monsoon, the highest rainfall takes place, it's almost like 700 centimeters rain per annum in the northern side. But if you go down toward the southern side, just 40 kilometers away from there, the maximum rain is 150 centimeter rainfall per annum. But the temperature maximum goes up to 26 to 28 degrees Celsius. And the minimum temperatures drop down to -4 degrees Celsius, because must be the coldest place in south of India. Of course, there is no snow in this southern region, since we are very close to the equator, 1,000 miles away from the equator. So it's not much snow here. That will be a frost in the winter season. December, January is the coldest period in Munnar. Munnar is known for its tea plantation at the moment. It's famous for the tea comes from the Munnar, one of the largest tea producing part in the country. That is Munnar, the surrounding area. When we talk about Munnar, it's almost like 460 square kilometers, the total area of Munnar, the surrounding areas. But the history goes back to Munnar. It is way back to the almost like 1,000 years before, where the native people, originally the tribals who came from Tamil Nadu and settled down, probably in the 14th and 15th century, the tribals are known as the Muduvars or the Pulayas. And Munnar is situated on the Western Ghats section. The Western Ghats, when we say the Western Ghats, the chains of mountain, which is almost like 1,600 kilometers stretching out all the way from Maharashtra, passing through Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, and ending up abruptly in Tamil Nadu region. So it is 1,600 kilometer stretches where Munnar is in the midst, actually, where the highest altitude, which is the Animudi Peak, one of the tallest peak in south of India. Munnar has got a lot of, Munnar is also known as the Kashmir of South. Not only that, it is becoming a very popular touristic destination and a honeymoon destination, and a lot of tourists visit to the Munnar, but the best time, as I mentioned to you earlier. And now we are going to discuss more about Munnar. I'm going to talk about the history and the people and the keys and other things. My colleague, Mr. Makesh, is going to discuss about the technical point of view, the sightseeing places, what to see and what not to be seen, how much kilometer, what is the timing, and all the details. Probably he will explain to you later on in the second part of this webinar. Munnar. The word Munnar derived from 3 rivers. Moonu, Aru. Moonu means number 3, Aru means a river. So 3 rivers are joining in a particular point. That's why it's called Munnar. The name Munnar is derived from the Tamil and Tamil words, Munnar. When it was discovered, by whom it was discovered, that is the question mark actually. All the credit goes to Arthur Wellesley, the colonial Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of the Wellington, way back to the end of the 18th century. So thanks to Tipu, that is the time that Tipu Sultan was ruler of Mysore. He was ruling Mysore, and he was attacking Trivandrum, that is the Trivandrum, which is the capital of Kerala state. He came all the way from Mysore and is slowly capturing up the southern part of India. So the British were there that time. They were again. They came to know about the presence of Tipu Sultan in that particular region. So they decided to capture him. So Arthur Wellesley, along with his army, they cut across the Kambambeli, that is the shortest route, passing through the Kambambeli mountain, the Munnar and Chinnar, and reached Coimbatore. By the time Tipu came to know about this arrival of the British, so he escaped. He returned back to Mysore. This is how Munnar came into light. And immediately, Arthur Wellesley, what he decided, he appointed a committee to do the survey of these particular areas. That was way back in 1816 and 1817. He sent the two brothers, Turner brothers, to do the survey, and then they realized that this place is an ideal place for spice plantation. So then the Muir brothers, they bought the piece of land from the local ruler. It's called Kannan Devan, that was way back in the 19th century. So he bought the lands almost like 700 square kilometers terrain, which is the thick jungles. So the deal was done between the local rulers and the head of the village known as Kannan Devan. And that area was known as Anjinadu, that is of 5 villages. He was the head of the villages. So the hills named after him as a Kannan Devan Hills. At the same time, the British who founded a company called the Kannan Devan Hill Plantation to cultivate the spices. So in the beginning, what they did, they experimented cultivating chincona. Chincona is the bark, which from the bark of the chinconas, we produce the medicine quinine, that's for malaria. There was in 1870 to 1880, there was a huge demand for chinconas. So they cultivated a lot of chinconas in that areas. Maybe after that, the business has been slummed. So they decided to go for an alternative crop. So they cultivated coffee and cardamom and other kinds of spices. Then they realized that this place is very ideal and suitable for a tea plantation. So they experimented the tea plantation. Way back in 1879, the first tea plantation was developed. 50 acres of jungle has been cleared and they cultivated the teas. As I told you, the ancient settlers are the Muduwars. The Muduwars mean the one who carries things in the pack. When they came down, probably in the 15th and 16th century, they migrated to Munnar. They were accompanying with the British soldiers showing the ways. So the British brought those around 2,000 people from the regions to clear the jungles. But it's not easy to clear the jungles, almost like 700 square kilometers. So what they did, the Turner brothers, they decided to bring people from the Tamil Nadu region, the dry zone, the drought regions of Tamil Nadu. That is the northern part of Tamil Nadu and southern part of Tamil Nadu. So they took the people from there to work in the tea plantation. Imagine without realizing the hardship they are going to come across, so they moved all the way. But I'm still surprised. I don't know how they came. They passed through the mountains, which is infested with animal and insect and heavy rainfalls. And of course, there was no roads. It is only the elephant paths. And with the families, how they move. Even now, I realize that my childhood days, my school days, and we used to take a bus to go to the particular town. And there are hardly only one buses. There was a small passage. If there is any vehicle comes in the opposite direction, we got stuck. I know this is how it is in the way back in the 70s and 80s. But imagine in the 19th century how it was. So it's a surprise. But many people, a lot of people are migrated. Almost 25,000 laborers from Tamil Nadu has been migrated to Munnar region, and they start clearing the thick jungles and they developing the tea plant. They started cultivating the teas. Tea was in a huge demand in the European market. So it's there are then small entrepreneurs become the big companies that started investing money on it. They start buying the land. So ultimately, they have to develop the roads, the infrastructures, the factories, the houses for the employees, schools, hospitals, all those things. It's a huge investment over the period starting from 1897. It continued till the 1950s, 64. The tea growth was phenomenal things. So almost most of the lands was bought over by the James Muir. Then it's later on the company called Tata Finlay Companies. So he established a tea estate known as the KDHP plantation, Kannan Devan Hills plantation, where the main idea is to grow the tea bushes. So the thick jungles have been cleared and they start cultivating and they're developing the interior roads, almost like 715 kilometers of roads in the interior, in the remotest area, with a lot of difficulties they developed. The tea can grow in an altitude of starting from 1,500 meters. It goes up to starting from 4,200 feet up to 7,000 feet altitude. They started cultivating the teas in that region actually. And in the meantime, the British they start building the roads and how to transport. That is the question mark actually. So in spite of that building roads, the people used to carry the headmans and the pony rides and the elephant back and the camel back, and there was no camel, the horseback to all the way from the Munnar town all the way to the place called Top Station, then it goes down. So they decided to build the roadway in 1905. Can you imagine? They built a railway line, tracks in the hilly region. It took a couple of years and spent huge amount to build the railway line and the roadways. So the teas have been loaded in the horsebackers. It goes into they carry it all the way to the foothill. From there, the roadway takes it to the top station. That is a place adjoining to Tamil Nadu region. From there, it goes down to all the way to Tamil Nadu border. And from there, it is taken to the harbors. There was a harbor that is called Tutukurin. And there is one more near the other side is Cochin. So they take the tea loads to these places. From there, it has been shipped to European market. There was a huge demand for the Kannan Hill plantation teas in those days, actually. They made huge profit. Apart from the big companies, there are small entrepreneurs also started setting up the tea factories and tea estates. So this is how the tea industries developed phenomenally in that regions. As I told you, Munnar is situated in the Western Ghats, and the Western Ghats is considered to be one of the hottest biosphere reserves in the planet. So UNESCO has been, there is a special status for this region. And this Western Ghats is rich with fauna and flora, and more than 30,000 species of plants are there in that region. That's something, some exotic plants are very, very unique in that region. Not only the plants, there are exotic animals like the lion-tailed macaque monkeys. Probably you can see the monkeys, one of the in the slide shows. So this is some, yes, there you can see it now. The macaque monkey, it's a lion-tailed macaque monkey, which is exclusive. You will find them in the Western Ghats, particularly in Munnar region, estimated around 2,000, but I'm not sure exactly how many things are there, how many lion-tailed macaques are there actually, but this is exclusively from this region. And apart from that, there are the animals like elephants, tigers, panther, including black panthers, sambar deer, spotted deers, not spotted deers actually, then barking deers and the hypex, all these different kinds of animals. There is a place called Erivikulam National Park, which was discovered by the governors of the Madras presidency. They used to go for hunting. You know, this area is infested with a lot of animals. I believe that in my childhood days, the tribal people accompanied with the Europeans, they go for a hunting. They used to hunt hundreds of, number of elephants and number of tigers. I have seen it during my childhood days that that was way back in the 70s. I'm talking about it. Till 76, the British were there. They were working as troop managers in the estates, in the tea estates. So they used to go for a hunting. It's an ideal ground for the hunters. But 1976, the Forest Act has been implemented. Then they stopped doing it actually. Now it has become a reserved forest in that region actually. So Munnar is very, very rich for fauna and flora, and it is a paradise for the bird watchers. You will find hundreds and hundreds of birds actually, estimated around 1,200 varieties of birds in the Indian subcontinent, I believe that it's more than 50% of them are in this region, in the Western Ghats region, because it's so there's so much to the nature is so plentiful in this area. So you will see it's a paradise for the bird watchers, for the animal hunters. Not only that, Munnar is also, this particular Merivugula National Park is famous for the rainbow trout fish. You will find one of the slideshows, the last slideshow, where the rainbow trout fish, it is an ideal ground for fish hatcheries. Imagine these kind of fishes exist only in the European country, because it can survive only in the cold water. But whereas the British wanted to experiment it, they found out that this area is suitable for the hatchery, fish hatchery. So they brought all the way from London to this. There's a place called Rajamalai, where you have a hatcheries, and they breed these the rainbow trout fishes, and they release them in the cold water. The water is really is an ice cold water, crystal clear waters. This fish cannot survive in any polluted water. And so because it's also the weekends, the managers, the Europeans, they go for go on the horseback, and they go for a fishing. So a lot of activities used to take place in the till these in the till the 1970, and after that, when the forest department took over, it is changed. Um, Again, coming back to the tea plantation, tea was introduced originally in India way back in 1835. That was the first experiment. For the tea growth, because its high potential is there actually. So they developed it in a big manner. They realized it. There's a lot of potential is there actually, and the crops have been increased, starting with 2,000 employees. By the time in the way back in 1956, it's almost like more than the second largest tea exporting nations in the world after China. And India is not only there is tea like the black tea or the green tea, and also Munnar is famous for the instant tea. Probably you might heard about instant coffee, but there is an instant tea factory which was set up in 1964 by the James Miller Company, collaborated with the Tatas, and they produce almost 500 million kilograms of teas are export. I mean, 500,000 kilograms teas are exported to the European country. That is the instant tea I'm talking about it actually. And South India, South Africa, and like other places, South India is also very famous for the tea plantation. And it is nowadays it is become a tourism is developed, and a lot of new technology has been invented. And now the system is completely, it's a different what it used to be in this ancient time. When the tea was introduced, actually, it takes 5 years for in the nursery to protect it. Actually, this is I'm talking about how the tree grows there. Actually, it's needed a minimum altitude of 1,500 and above. A lot of shades is required. A lot of pruning is required. Tea is just not like that. But once you plant it, you can get the benefit, harvest it for next 100 years or 150 years. My great grandfather
Net connection scenario. Okay. I'm sorry, there is a small technical hitch. Charles will join shortly.
I think there is some technical issue, so bear with us. Meanwhile, I want to tell you about Makesh ji and the Charles. Both are the best guides of South India. Even if I can tell you honestly, they are one of the best, the guide of all over India. And we are lucky that Charles, who is also known as a soil of sun, he was born in Munnar. And so the Charles is the perfect person to explain the Munnar. The meanwhile, you can see his friend Makesh ji is also a very good friend of mine as well. And I think both are the best person to present, the South India. So this is only today we are focusing on Munnar, but in coming days, we will love that if the Charles and the Makesh both will join us for other webinars on the other destination of the South India. So also, once I want to invite Charles and the Makesh to explain the churches of South India. That is also the wonderful, the monuments, wonderful churches in the South India. We will love to see that South India region with Charles and Makesh ji. Charles, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Sorry for this. There is a technical issue.
No problem, brother.
So I'll continue with the plantation. So coming back to the teas, when the teas are planted in the nature, starting from the 10th year, they start harvesting. So imagine way back in the 1900s, my great grandfather planted the tea leaves. Even in the 2020s, I go there and I still see the tea bushes. It can grow. It like if you don't prune it, I know it grows like a tree. So it has to be periodically, the tea bushes has to be pruned and cleaned. There's a lot of labor-intensive work is involved in tea plantation. Considered to be the largest labor-intensive labor work involved in the tea plantations. So once starting from the 10th year, they harvest it. Periodical pruning is required and cleaning is required. Pesticides they use it, manurials use it, all those things. And what about the harvest? Every 15 days, the tea leaves has to be plucked from the tea bushes. That means the tender leaves. Mostly the women employees are suitable, ideal to pluck these tender leaves from the tender kinds actually. So they pluck the tea leaves all periodically. Once you pluck the tea leaves today, after 16th days, it has to be replucked again. You cannot wait for a month. So it has to be periodically. What about the harvest, which is the best time of the year for the harvest date? Whether harvest takes place once in a very few times? No. Through 365 days, the tea harvest takes place. But when you say the tea 365 days, the best time of the year is March and April, because there was a pre-monsoon and also the sun side. And again in September, October is the high crop season, where the women can pluck up to an average 40 to 50 kilograms of tea leaves in a day. Maximum, it can be up to 100 kilograms of tea in a day. That's starting from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So just imagine, it's not so easy job to do it actually. And though it's rain heavily like cats and dogs, people are allowed, they work and they collect the tea leaves. When the tea leaves are harvested, so immediately it has been shifted to the tea factories, because there are 19 tea factories. When the tea goes to the tea factories, the first thing is the process is to remove the moistures from the tea leaves. So what they do is they spread it out in a drought, and then they blow the hot air and it gets dried. And naturally, it takes approximately 16 to 18 hours to remove the moistures. Once the moisture is removed, it goes into the machine where it is crushing, cutting, tearing, curling, all the process takes place naturally. And then it goes for the process for the fermentation. The fermentation process is the most important process in the teas. Anything less than 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes, it's gone. So it has to be perfect, 45 minutes to 50 minutes. It based on the temperature outside, the temperature, the moisture has to be, the fermentation takes place. When the fermentation process is over, then immediately it has to be stopped. What they do is they send it into the hot air machine. When it gets dried and it turns out to be the black tea. When the black teas are ready, then it comes out then it goes for a grading and it absorbs all the fibers and unwanted thing, and it continues. Immediately it will be grading into 12 different categories of teas, like orange pekoe, broken orange pekoe, penny, dusty teas, super fine dust teas, the different varieties. The more bigger the tea leaves or the better aroma, better taste, the more powder it is for like the commercial purpose. When you go to the tea restaurants, they use the tea powder. But the British normally they buy the best quality of the teas. So this is how it has been processed. Out of 100 kilograms of tea leaves, one can get one fifth of the tea powder. That is 20 kilograms of tea powder. You will get it from the 100 kilograms of tea leaves. So same thing like a coffee also, the similar ratio. So when the tea is been done, immediately it's packed, it is exported. This is how the tea history, and this Munnar is known for that. If you happen to be in Munnar, you must see places around the world. It's Munnar. There are a lot of tourists. During the time of the, you see the flowers, the Nilakkurinji flower, it estimated around, it was nearly 1 million people visited during 1 month time in Munnar, because it's so colorful, so beautiful. Now it is, there was, this is still 80s, it was not so popular, but now it's gone its charm, because there's so many tourists. A lot of people from different walks of life from across the countries are pouring into Munnar. So Munnar is a very good destination. My friend Makesh, my colleague Makesh, will explain more about the Munnar, the sightseeing places, and the other things actually. And thank you so much for listening. If you have any other questions, maybe at the end of the question session, you can ask me. Thank you. Bye. Makesh, over to you, Makesh.
Uh, Thank you, Charles. That was a brief introduction about Mona. And I'm sorry, yeah. And what I'll be doing is I'm going to give you a small introduction to the various places in and around Munnar, places that would be of interest as a tourist, a place like you should be going. And Munnar is one place that is with endless possibilities. It has endless possibilities, and a place known for the nature, the way. I'm sometimes someone coming from Tamil Nadu, from Chennai, living in a big city. I really feel, I would say, like what I'm missing. Yeah, it's such an amazing place known for its beauty. Not only beauty, there is interesting history as well, prehistoric, yeah, places to visit as well. Just to give an idea about the location of Munnar, it is in Kerala, bordering Tamil Nadu on the Western Ghats, and to reach Munnar, it's in a way very practical. You could see Munnar. I think like you could see my mouse. Okay. Munnar is here, and I'm talking about three major cities, known cities from where you could reach Munnar, like Cochin, Coimbatore, and Madurai. These three places I selected because these are the three places that have an airport as well as a railway station. Of course, there are places closer to Munnar, like say not very far from Cochin, there is a place called Angamali, from where you get a bit closer to Munnar, or from Coimbatore, when you go towards Munnar, there is a place called Udumalpet, which gets you closer to Munnar. It has a railway station, or Madurai, and then Theni. Theni has a railway station. But for better orientation, I have selected these places, Coimbatore, Madurai, and Cochin. So these three places have airport as well as a railway station. So that gives an idea about how to reach Munnar. And Munnar, it's I'm talking about the town Munnar itself. Yeah, because when I talk about the place of visit, I'm going to talk about a larger area. But now I'm talking about when I say altitude of Munnar, it's the Munnar town at 1,600 meters above sea level with a population. But when I talk about the population, it's not the town of Munnar, but the surrounding area included. It's around 50,000 people, and because of so many people who moved to Kerala, to Munnar at the beginning of the 20th century or early 20th century, it's a place like where you can get along with Tamil as well as Malayalam, even though the official language is Malayalam. And the area about which I'm going to talk about is going to be around 370 square kilometers around the Munnar town. Okay, these are the places about which, like some of the important places I'm going to talk about. Munnar. Okay, or a list of places I'll be talking about. You see it here like the top station, Echo Point, and as much as possible, I have avoided the usual tourist location. Like anyone who visits Munnar will definitely visit the tea factory, and it's a fabulous factory, no doubt about it. But then anyone is going to anyone, everyone is taken there. So I'm leaving that. But there is other places. Okay, to start with, Echo Point. Echo Point, in a way, a very interesting place. When you go from Munnar to a place called Kodaikanal. Kodaikanal, it's a very popular hill station located in Tamil Nadu. But when you travel from Munnar to Kodaikanal, there is a place called Top Station. Yeah, you should go there. Kodaikanal, like a top station is known for as a very popular hiking place. And if you happen to be at the right time, this is one nice place where you could see the Kurinji flower. Kurinji flower, it's native to that region, blossoms every 12 years. And it's an amazing sight if you happen to be there around this time when the flower blossoms. Just to give an idea how this location, of course, this particular photo is not from top station about which I'm talking right now, but then there are places where you get these type of, like the flowers everywhere every 12 years. A couple of more views of the Kurinji flower, how it looks. Okay, and obviously, when I say a flower that blossoms every 12 years, yeah, you must be interested to find out when does it blossom next time. The last time it was in 2080. So going by that, it's going to be 2030. But then, Kurinji flower is not the only reason you should visit Munnar. Of course, it is definitely one reason, but not the only reason. So, apart from that, there are a couple of other places which I would suggest, like going to a place called Echo Point. Echo Point, it's around 13 kilometers from Munnar town. So once again, for better orientation, all the places I'm going to mention will be, and the distance will be from the Munnar town itself. Echo Point is famous for its beautiful lake, and one of the most popular activity by the tourists would be boating. And apart from that, as the name suggests, yeah, it's a nice place where like when you stand at a certain location, and if you I use the word shout, but then you don't have to shout really. Like, the way your voice echoes from the hill, it's amazing. And there is an enclosed space. Yeah. You enter that place after paying 20 rupees. I think the current entrance fee is 20 rupees. Like it's very clear the way your voice resonates. But then, depending on the climate, the wind direction, even outside this enclosed space, you get to say, you can experience this. But then it's a matter of luck. The climate, wind all play a very important role. Not very far from that place, in a village, not very far from Munnar, or from Munnar town, there is a village called Pallivasal, and it has a small waterfall. It's not a small waterfall, a very interesting waterfall, goes by the same name, Pallivasal Falls. It's once again a place known for its natural beauty. It's around 12 kilometers south of Munnar, it's around 12 kilometers south of Munnar, and it is in Spallivasal. We have the first hydroelectric power project in Kerala. Of course, you don't go to the falls. It's a nice, but for just for the viewing the fall, it's a nice place for a small hiking, and the place around that area, the tea plantation, the hills, everything is amazing. And when it's monsoon time, the force with which the water gushes, it's something you really have to experience to believe it. Yeah, another interesting place is Arthikad waterfalls. That is, like when you're moving from Munnar, you can either go to Arthikad Falls and then go to Pallivasal, or on the way back, you could reach Arthikad waterfalls. Either way, it is another interesting place known for hiking. And, like I'm talking about, Munnar is a place with endless possibilities. Yeah, it's not just a sightseeing place alone, I would say, but also interesting for the lovely hills where you go for hiking, trekking, and the number of waterfalls, the climate, people coming from the humid climate, they really understand what I mean by pleasant climate and the pristine beauty that you see everywhere. Arthikad Waterfalls is an amazing place. You should go. And another interesting place called Anayirangal Dam. Of course, like for better understanding, we also call it as elephant arrival spot because you have a dam there, and dam is situated around 24 kilometers east of Munnar on the way to Bodhi Nayakanur. The place Bodhi Nayakanur is situated in Tamil Nadu, but this is closer to Bodhi Nayakanur. When you travel from Munnar to Bodhi Nayakanur, you come to this place, and you see a lot of people every day coming from Tamil Nadu, Bodhi Nayakanur to work on the various plantations. So you have a better connectivity nowadays. And this place, as the name suggests, if you are lucky, this is the place where you could see amazing, not just the tea plantation, but also the way the elephants come there to the water. Yeah, herds of elephants. Of course, when you talk about wildlife, you really have to count on your luck as well. But this is one place where the chance of sighting elephant, depending on the time of the day. I would suggest normally around 4 to 5 in the evening or early morning is the time like you see herds of elephants coming there and sometimes even swimming across this dam or the lake. It's an amazing sight you should not miss. And another interesting place for those like who would like to go like you're hiking is this Lockhart Gap. It is on the eastern side of the Western Ghats, getting you closer to Tamil Nadu. And once again, an ideal time to go hiking, yeah, in this place would be just before sunset. Yeah, there are endless trekking possibilities, trekking trails in Munnar, in and around Munnar. But if I have to choose just one, it's not going to be easy, but still, I would select this place and you should go hiking during sunset or just before sunset for the simple reason the way the sunlight plays on the plains below you, on the valleys, the orange tinge. It's something you really have to see to believe. An amazing place, you should really experience it. And talking about another interesting place is Anamudi. Yeah, roughly translated, the word Anamudi would be the peak or the top of an elephant. It's around 15 kilometers north of Munnar. It's around 15 kilometers north of Munnar. A place, once again, I would highly recommend for hiking. It is also the home to the largest surviving population of Asiatic elephants, Gaurs, and Nilgiri Tars. But you just can't go trekking like that. You really have to. You have to get permission from the wildlife warden. But those who really have the stamina, I would suggest that you should do that. Anamudi Peak is one of my favorite places, and I have done it a couple of times. But believe me, I haven't reached till the top. No, it's not possible, or rather, like I gave up. Yeah, and another place called Marayur, that's around 33 kilometers from Munnar. When Charles said that he is native of Munnar, this place, Marayur, that is native. So he comes from the place Marayur, not very far from Munnar. And this place is located en route to a beautiful wildlife sanctuary called Chinna Wildlife Sanctuary, and I'll be talking about it later. And Marayur also gives you various possibilities. If you are one like who is looking for history, or if you like taking photos, beautiful sceneries, the plantations, the tea plantations, the hills, the trees, yeah, or interesting flora and fauna, and region-specific product, Marayur is the place. Marayur is also home to the dolmens. Yeah, dolmens, which is locally called as a Muni Aram. The word Muni means a sage, and Aram means a room. Yeah, that's a name given by the locals. Basically, yeah, earlier the ancients they were buried in these places. It's just a simple construction with three walls, two on the side, one behind, and a roof, a slab. Yeah, and you see a lot of them. And unfortunately, before we realize the importance, some of them have been vandalized, destroyed, but the government has stepped in and now it is well protected. And those who are interested in these type of things, historical things, you should go to Marayur and not very far from Marayur, the place where we have all these dolmens. And I'm adding a couple of photos just to show you like how interesting the location is. You're on top of a hill and you see the valley behind with some isolated houses. Yeah, it's definitely, I would say, a nice place to take photos. And if you're lucky with the sunlight, it's an amazing location. And another unique thing about Munnar or Marayur is when you travel from Munnar, yeah, to this Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary, you drive past a location called, which is probably the only natural sandalwood forest in the world. Yeah, that's around 40 kilometers from Munnar, en route to Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary. And it's something all of us, we have used sandalwood. But then, like, how many of us have seen the sandalwood tree? Yeah, and if you have time, you should also, yeah, visit this place. We have sandalwood regeneration experimental plot, where you also see how sandalwood is being processed. It's a learning experience, no doubt about it. And once again, I reiterate, it's something unique because even though Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, these two states produce a lot more sandalwood, but a naturally occurring sandalwood forest or a plantation that's not very far from Marayur. And one more thing Marioor is famous for is what we call a shakara. Shakara. It's a jaggery. If I'm right with my Hindi, is it not called as load? Yeah. And this is a very special type of jaggery. This area, Marioor, it is on the rain shadow region, that is on the eastern slope of the Western Ghats. So it gets a little less rain, but that's a rain that's that's a climate that's very favorable for sugarcane, and lot of sugarcane plantation you see, and the jaggery that's made is so special. We call it as, like it has got a GI tag as well. And the specialty of the jaggery is that you don't feel the taste of salt or cyst. And you can, of course, visit some of those small sheds where they make this jaggery. And as I said, it's once again a very interesting learning experience for you. And talking about Munnar, you can't miss the wildlife, yeah, in and around Munnar. Yeah, and I'm starting with the place Erevikulam National Park, which is home to various animals, mammals, and also known for the Nilgiri Tar. We also call it as yeah, the mountain goats. Nilgiri Tar, it is an endemic species to that western region, and it's in and around Munnar. You see a lot of them. When we go to Erevikulam National Park, yeah, there is a well-laid path. After buying the entrance ticket, you can just walk up the hill, and if you're lucky, you can spot them. Of course, the park is open to public between 8 and 4:30, 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. But then during the breeding time, that's in the month of February and March, it is closed. So when you are visiting Munnar, and if you plan to visit this Araviculum, have this in mind. There is no access to public in the month of February and March. But interesting place. Another interesting wildlife sanctuary, once again, my favorite would be the Chinna Wildlife Sanctuary. 50 kilometers from Munnar. It is yeah, I reiterate the word. It's the only rehabilitation center of Indian star tortoise. Yeah, and so it's apart from that, there are various other mammals. It's home to the common langur, bonnet macaques, grey langur, nilgiri tar, rusty spotted cat, grizzled giant squirrel, and lot more. And once again, what I find interesting in this area is like in most of these national parks, you don't go in a jeep, make sound, and scare the animals away. The options are like you walk or you go hiking. And when you go to Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary, yeah, my favorite would be the river trekking program. And if your stamina allows, you should also do this too on a waterfalls. It's not easy, it's a bit difficult. But then the big plus is like no noise and usual precautions you take when you visit this place, like no bright colored dress, no perfume, don't talk loud, all these. Most important, no jeep safari. Yeah, and Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary is also a special place. Yeah, that is a place where there is this special species of gout called the albino gout. Even though we see references in Tamil literature as well as in Sinhalese literature in Sri Lanka mentioning about this albino gout, the first official acceptable sighting of this animal was as recent as 1934. And since then, a lot of people have identified this. Yeah, this albino gout. That's the small one you see on the screen in the left side. But then a clear, acceptable photograph of this albino gout was taken as recent as 2014, and this is the one. So in a way, it's an elusive animal. Yeah, because like if you see 100 herds of gout, probably one will say you will have this. And that herd normally becomes a bit elusive. So it was not easy spotting it. And since 1914, we have some couple of photos of this albino gout, but this is something unique to this, and not many of us know about this. And I'm reserving the best to the last, a place called Kolukumalai. Situated at 35 kilometers from Munnar town, it's a very special place. Tea, of course, like nowadays, it grows in various parts of the world, various parts of India, but Kolukumalai tea is something special about which I'll talk. Okay, all right, you can see it on the screen. Kolukumalai area is situated around 2,400 meters above sea level. It has the tea plantation at the highest elevation in the world. I don't know how many of you know that. And that particular plantation takes it takes extra precaution to make sure that it is only an organic tea. It's something very special, and if I'm right, it's not easily available in Indian market. I think almost 100% of their produce is being exported. But then it's also a place, you should go Kolukumale, not just for the tea plantation. It is also a place known for amazing scenery. Yeah, they to access that place. Yeah, earlier by motorcycles were allowed, but then now they are stopped. So the only way to travel is by jeep. So you go to a place called Suryanelli. From there, you could hire a jeep and reach this Kolukumalai. Even though the distance it's not much, but the roads are so rustic that you really have to use a jeep. And around, I would recommend that you should start early. How early? By 4:45, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry. So it's going to be 1.5 hours drive, probably 1 hour 45 minutes, and reach the place just before sunrise. And enjoy the sunrise there. It's amazing view. It's hard to believe. No words can explain. And of course, there are nowadays possibility of probably like staying in a tent. You could spend the night there. So the minimum thing I would suggest when you go to Munnar is to go to this place Kolugumalai by hiring a jeep. And I think hiring a jeep one way would cost around 2,000 rupees. Of course, there are enough locals when you go to this place Surinali from where a lot of people offer this jeep ride, and six passengers can be accommodated in this jeep. So 2,000 rupees. Either you go early morning, see the sunrise, and come back, or you can also talk to them, and there is definitely an extra fee. You can spend a night in a tent as well. And I'm also going to give you because I think I'm not doing justice with just a photo as far as Kolugumalai is concerned. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to show you a small video taken from YouTube. It's not my video taken from YouTube. That gives an idea about Kolugumalai and the trip to Kolugumalai. Yeah, and just a minute. It's a video for around 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Mukesh ji, a clear sound is not coming.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yep, sorry. Okay. So
Okay,
I repeat once again.
okay,
If
please.
you visit a place, in my opinion, it is not complete without trying the local food. And my choice when you visit Kerala or Munnar would be to try tapioca. Tapioca, it was introduced by the Portuguese and it has been so nicely integrated into the Kerala food. It is now difficult to believe that it's not a local plant of Kerala. And tapioca, you can there are various possibilities. It is as the possibilities as much as you could do with potato. Yeah. And if I have to suggest to try tapioca, it goes so beautifully with your the regular roti, chapati, or the South Indian pancake dosa. And if you really want to be really try the local food, yeah, I think Charles would suggest tapioca with fish curry. And tapioca, it is called as cuppa in Malayalam. Yeah, you got it right. It's called as cuppa. And now you see the connect to the topic, Monar, my cup of tea. Yeah, I hope it was a interesting introduction to Monar. We are really will be happy to if you have any further information. If you require any further information, please feel free to contact us. You see our contact details, Charles and my contact details with the mobile number and also the email ID. And hope it was definitely interesting. And one more favorite before I sign out or like say goodbye is try the local chai with parupu vada. That's what you see along with the tea here. Kattan chai, local tea along with parupu vada. Thank you everyone. Thank you every. I'm not mentioning name for the fear of I might miss out some of the name, but the entire team who gave us this opportunity and thank you very much. Thank you very much. Be safe and let's hope that things start working our way with the tourism industry. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mukesh ji, and thanks a lot, Charles, to join us. Jodi number one. Till now, we had a lot of webinar and the presentation, but what we have seen that this was one of the best presentation. One of the best presentation. What a wonderful combination of the contents and the photographs. Oh, beautiful atmosphere you both created. That's why I mentioned that Jodi number one. Thanks to Madam Rupinder Brar. This is a half vision. She started this series, and now it is becoming very popular. Thousands of people they watch this webinar later on our YouTube channel. So देखो अपना देश. It will be available there. But always when we choose the speaker, we choose the best one. And here I can mention that please, when you are planning to visit Munnar, contact these two gentlemen who is the most intelligent, most presentable person. We all have recognized them. What a wonderful presentation it was. So Motosi ma'am is here. On behalf of ministry, she want to say something. Please, Motosi
Yes,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you, Ajay sir. So that was an amazing presentation by Charles sir and Makesh sir. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone and every guide. I mean, now we know whom to contact if we are planning to visit some places. And definitely Munnar is like Munnar calling is already ringing in my head. It should be in the bucket list in 2022. And it was really, I mean, the kappa curry, a kappa with fish curry. It's a really a very good combination, and the chai we should try when we go to Munnar. Apart from the sightseeing and other places to visit, those things, the cuisines and other things, it's really important to taste to feel the local this thing. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you, NHT of our technical team for giving us such good support in between when we are facing some disturbance. And the second thing I would like to inform, all these webinars are already present in YouTube. You can visit there anytime. And along with that, you can also find it in our website, ministry's website, department's website. You can find it there. The links are all given there. So anybody can easily, they can easily find the this webinars if you are missing the live one. Okay, so now it's time to end the session because we have come to the end. So please take care of yourself and please put on the mask when you step out. Please follow the social distancing and use sanitizer whenever it is required. So stay tuned with us. We don't know next week where we are taking you to. Where is our next destination? Let it be surprise for the time being. So thank you all. Thank you. Be safe. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you all. Thank you everyone. Thanks for taking
Thank you.
personal time and watching us. I hope you all enjoyed it. And the special thanks to MOT and Mutoshi and Flower Madam and my beloved friend Mr. Rajesh Singh. Thanks for the entire team. Have a wonderful weekend.
So thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Yep. Thank you. Keep in touch.
Thanks, everyone.